What's going on, y'all? OJ back with another video, and today I'm just gonna recap every fight on the UFC London card: Leon Edwards versus Sean Brady. I'm gonna break down every fight on the card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event. I'm sorry this came out very late. I'm having a hard time adjusting to US time zone again, but now that I'm back, I need to start locking in. I need to put out more content. And I'm just going to use this video to kind of get myself back in because I've been out of practice for quite some time. But regardless, I'm not going to waste any more time and we're going to jump straight into the UFC London card. We're going to start off with Call Fernandez versus Guram Kutateladze. Fernandez just straight up whooped Guram's ass for three straight rounds. It's not what I expected, because I thought Guram would have been able to edge out a decision, but no. Turns out Guram, for some reason, thought that he was this elite level pocket boxer and got his legs minced up for like three straight rounds. Maybe it's because Ilya Taporia was in his corner, but I don't understand why Guram all of a sudden thought he was this elite level pocket boxer. And that actually annoyed me because Guram never fights like this. He's a very rangy kickboxer who can shoot takedowns whenever in close quarters. So I don't understand why all of a sudden he tried to fight like Ilya Taporia. It's probably because I wasn't a real hardcore fan when Guram was first typed up in the UFC. I don't understand what a lot of older fans of the sport saw in Guram. Like, I've heard a lot of older generation fans claim that Guram was this absolute monster, but as far as I'm concerned, his recent wins are to Jordan Vucenic, who I'll get to later in this card. And other than that, he's been getting kind of dog walked in every single fight. Very disappointing performance from Guram Kutateladze because I still don't believe Carl Fernandez is all that good. Maybe I'll be proven wrong one day, but until then, I'll just say that Guram's washed. He should hang it up, ironically, but who knows what he's gonna do in his next fight. Moving on to Callan Logren versus Nathan Fletcher. Initially, I thought Callan Logren won the fight because I was watching this fight on the airplane, and every time the stream wasn't buffering, I saw Logren was able to take down Fletcher at will. And so I was having a hard time understanding why people thought this fight was a robbery. But then I rewatched it yesterday, and all I had to say was, how the fuck did Logren win this fight? Round two, I don't think there's any debate. Fletcher just beat the piss out of him in a standing body triangle, wailing on his head nonstop for like 3.5 minutes. And round three, yeah, Logren got the takedowns, but he didn't do much of anything with them. And in the last 30 seconds, Fletcher again started beating the piss out of him. I'm not normally someone that complains about control time against the fence in MMA, but Fletcher clearly beat up on Logren in rounds two and three. And I don't understand how the judges were able to give it to Logren because Logren didn't really have that much success. He just held up Fletcher against the cage. Occasionally he'll get the takedown, but then Fletcher will immediately get back up. It's very messy and controversial scorecards. I thought Fletcher won this fight. I'll get to uh, something I noticed on the London card later when I talk about Jai Herbert versus Chris Padilla. But yeah, very confusing fight considering that Logren was the winner overall. We're gonna move on to Shauna Bannon versus Pooja Tomar. Insane fight as long as it lasted. Bannon did a very good job throwing side kicks and a variety of head kicks off the lead leg, and it kind of made Pooja Tomar hesitant throughout the whole fight. Uh, Tomar eventually was able to find her shots by like countering every time Bannon was like missing a side kick or a lead question mark kick. But round two, however, all of a sudden, as Shauna Bannon's doing that hoppity side kick thing, Uja Tomar knocks out Shauna Bannon with a head kick. I thought the ref could have called this a KO, and no one should have been complaining. But all of a sudden, Tomar gets into Bannon's guard after eating a shit ton of ground and pound, and then Bannon magically finds an armbar in the process. Like, women's MMA is actually entertaining for once. And another Indian UFC prospect bites the dust, unfortunately. Great win from Shauna Bannon. I still don't think she's that good, but it was a really fun fight while it lasted, so I gotta give her props for that. Moving on to Christian Leroy Duncan versus Andre Pulyayev. This fight was shit, and both fighters pissed me the fuck off. And I remember watching this fight on the plane, and I was kind of dozing off because Christian Leroy Duncan didn't really do anything. He just kind of held up Pulyayev up against the cage, similar to Bautista. Uh, I was like, surely this is not what CLD is going to do for the entire fight. Lo and behold, for 14 minutes and 40 seconds, he just held up Pulyayev up against the cage, and Pulyayev just backed up into the cage to make this a whole lot easier for CLD. And what pisses me off the most is in the last 20 seconds of the fight, CLD all of a sudden just beats the brakes out of Pulyayev, almost finishing him. Like, I get that, it's the last 20 seconds of the fight, so you can go crazy, but you couldn't throw, like, one of those elbows throughout, I don't know, the 14 minutes of just clinch fest of doing nothing for the entire fight. Like, we couldn't throw more than 5 elbows in across, like, 2.5 rounds. It was a shit fight. Cut Puyayev for the organization, and, fuck you, CLD. That's all I have to say about this, and we're gonna move on to the next fight. Moving on to Marcin Tybura versus Mick Parkin. Another fight I got wrong on the card because Marcin Tybura won a robbery decision. Let's just call it what it is. First round, Parkin outstruck Tybura both on the numbers and in terms of damaging shots. And in the second round, Parkin just kept top position for a majority of the round, ball battering Tybura's face. And in the third round, Tybura dug deep and started finding his left hand on Parkin's chin. But even then, it should have been at best a 29-28 for Parkin. That round still could have been went to Mick Parkin, in my opinion. And even if you somehow disagree with me regarding the scorecards, the thing that is confusing is that the UFC actually favored Tybura to win this decision. Now, nothing against Tybura personally, but he does not bring anything to the company whatsoever other than flop checking every morbidly obese heavyweight. There's no real reason the UFC could even give Tybura these favorable decisions because Tybura's 40 years old. He's not winning a belt anytime soon, and the heavyweight division is in desperate need of prospects. Even though McParkin isn't all that good, I would still rather him fight someone in the top five just because it's a fresh matchup. Like, how many times am I really going to get excited for Tybura to get fraud checked by anyone in the top five? Just doesn't make sense. And I want to point out something weird during this card, but I'll get to that when we talk about Chris Padilla versus Jai Herbert. We're going to move on to Loner Kavanaugh versus Felipe Dos Santos. This was a fun fight, especially after watching Marcin Tybura and McParkin just kind of lob each other off for 3 straight rounds. Uh, but yeah, for Loner Kavanaugh gets it done. Very close decision. And for those of you who follow my Instagram, you know how high I am on Loner Kavanaugh. And I think this fight showed why you should get on the Kavanaugh hype train while you still can. The first round, not that great for Kavanaugh. FDS wobbled him with the right hand, cut him open with a spinning elbow, and he landed the better kicks. But the second round, Kavanaugh beat the piss out of FDS. Nasty ground and pound in the second. Kavanaugh was like beating the fuck out of him like Invincible was to Conquest at the end of Invincible Season 3. Very entertaining round to say the least. And the third round was close, but I thought Kavanaugh was able to edge the round out by mixing in takedowns and kind of doing what he did in the second, but to a lesser extent. Kavanaugh showed that he can really dig deep for a win, and I'm proud to say that I am a loner Kavanaugh fan. I don't know if he's going to get ranked necessarily, but he's young, he's smart, and he knows how to mix the martial arts. I'm really high on Kavanaugh, and hopefully the UFC matchmakers are as well. We're going to move on to Chris Padilla versus Jai Herbert. Awful fight. I don't know how else I'm supposed to describe this fight. It's just a whole lot of feinting at range and clinch festing. The first round, both guys, again, feinting out of range for 3 or 4 minutes before Padilla just engaged in the clinch, just holding on to Herbert, and Herbert just allowing himself being held against the cage. The second and third round, more or less the same, but Jai Herbert actually kind of threw more shots in the end of the second and third round. I thought Jai Herbert could have won this fight based off rounds 2 and 3, because Padilla. I know it says the numbers Padilla was up on the strikes, but not really. Like, I don't really remember anything Padilla landed that was like that effective. And that's what I wanted to talk about regarding the Jai Herbert fight, the Tybura versus Parkin fight, and the Fletcher versus Logren fight. All three of these fights were very close, but for some reason, all three of these fights were scored for the foreign fighter over the hometown favorite. I thought it was very weird that not one of these fights were given in favor to the UK fighter because normally the hometown fighter usually gets these favorable decisions. It happens in Abu Dhabi, Brazil, Australia, France. Every other region in the world but the UK gives their fighters an edge in close decisions. For some reason, however, the UK really hates their hometown fighters. And as lackluster as this fight was, I thought Herbert was pressing the action. I know by the numbers Padilla landed more, but again, nothing really happened. Do I care enough to triple check this fight? Not really, so we're gonna move on to the next fight. Moving on to Nathaniel Wood versus Morgan Charrier. Nathaniel Wood shuts down Morgan Charrier 30-27, drops him badly in the first, and used his speed to outstrike Charrier in rounds 2 and 3. Another fight I got wrong because I did not think that Charrier was gonna be this slow against Nathaniel Wood. It wasn't even a year ago when Wood was getting caught on the chin by a 39-year-old Daniel Pineda or Andre Fili. The first round was great for Wood, but once again, Nathaniel Wood fumbles a finish over another opponent after dropping them in the first round because Wood, for some reason, enters in the half guard instead of raining down ground and pound after dropping Charrier. I wouldn't say there was too much to write about outside of the first round, because from there, Wood was able to completely shut down Sherrier from entering back into the fight. Rounds 2 and 3, Wood was the faster and more technical striker. Neither guy really did much, but I guess Wood got the better of every exchange whenever they would go jab for jab or like two punches for two punches. Like it's a good win. Sherrier is dangerous, but I just wish Wood would actually maul someone immediately after dropping them. But either way, Wood gets the job done against a very dangerous unranked prospect, and I think he's going to be looking for a ranked opponent very soon. Up next, we're going to have Chris Duncan versus Jordan Vucenic. Chris Duncan gets a guillotine submission over Vucenic in the second round. My disappointment in Jordan Vucenic is immeasurable because I thought Vucenic was the truth. I'm never trusting a Cage Warriors prospect for at least the next 3 years because I can't even say this is a fluke. Jordan Vucenic just repeatedly shot takedowns with his head on the outside for Chris Duncan to snatch up an easy guillotine. And even before that in round one, he dropped Vucenic with a clubbing right hand. Honestly, I got bad signs as soon as I saw Guram get absolutely cooked by a random Brazilian. But I brushed that feeling off because I thought, Guram, I think he's just getting old. Maybe Lieutenant will look a lot better now that he's on a full training camp. But no, turns out both Guram and Vucenic are ass cheeks, and they just happened to put on a battle for us because they were fighting each other. I'm really sad that Vucenic lost the way he did because if he was gonna lose, I would have said at minimum someone barely outside of the rankings, like maybe a Mateus Rebecki or Fares. But no, he got fraud checked by Chris Duncan, and now I can't say Vucenic easily torches anyone. And honestly, he might be out of the UFC very soon because there aren't that many fighters he can fight that are worse than Chris Duncan, in my opinion. Moving on to Alexia Thainara versus Molly McCann. Why did I pick Molly McCann to win this fight? It's just shame on me for doing that. Molly McCann got rear naked choked in the first round, and that put her into retirement eventually. Prior to that, making this video, I was watching a lot of MMA Guru clips. And his chat is something else, man. Nonstop, just roasting the shit out of Molly McCann win a fight. Molly McFlurry. Molly McCann, I take your order, sir. Molly McDojo. But my favorite comment was, "You can't fire me. I quit on retirement fight." Oh man, I feel bad for Molly McCann because like she did try to make her fights entertaining. As bad as she was, like she did try to go for finishes, and whenever she did lose, she would get highlight reel finished. Like it's sad, but at the same time, some of these comments were just so funny to me. And as for Tainara, I don't care. She was over here clip farming for over 10 minutes, just shaking her ass, dancing. And then another 2 minutes after she choked out Molly McCann. Like, I'm not trying to be a hater, but let's be honest, nobody really gives a fuck about Alexia Thainara. Right. You want to do that, like dancing, twerking shit for a few minutes, whatever, but I don't really care enough to watch Thainara throw her ass back for 10 minutes straight. Like, there's porn on the internet I can watch if I really want to focus on her ass. But yeah, I guess she did get the job done, so I can't hate on her too much. She is pretty good, which I'll give it to her because I didn't expect it to be a first round submission. And Thainara, I guess I don't know how good she is, but put her against someone ranked because I think she easily beats most of the women in the unranked sections. And yeah, I guess Thainara is kind of a prospect to be out on the lookout for in the strawweight division. Moving on, we have Kevin Holland versus Gunnar Nelson. Very entertaining scrap. I had Kevin Holland winning the first two rounds. Like, there is an argument for Gunnar to win the first because he was in control for the majority of the round. But in the last 10 seconds, Kevin Holland got up and decided to rain down the 45-70. And not gonna lie, I thought Kevin Holland was cooked in the first round because immediately Gunner shot him for the hips, took him down, and Holland out here trying to pull omoplatas as if jujitsu is a real thing. But the last 10 seconds, maybe Nelson was trying to pace himself, but immediately Holland was able to get back up and crack Nelson with a nasty right hand, and then proceeded to follow up with devastating ground and pound, which if that was going on for like 10 seconds longer, the ref could have stopped that fight. The only round you could really give to Nelson was the third round because Nelson was pretty close to locking up the arm triangle, but Holland did a very good job answering the phone and eventually gritted down, which is crazy to say for a Kevin Holland fight. Hard fought win for Kevin Holland. I guess he's back at welterweight for fun matchups. I don't know if Kevin Holland's really gonna be making any noise, but who knows? Because it's hard to tell with Kevin Holland, to be honest. Either way, great win for Kevin Holland. We move on to Carlos Ulberg versus Jan Blachowicz. I had to rewatch this fight because I believe I was in the TSA at the time, checking my bags. It was a very frustrating fight to say the least after rewatching it because you could give the fight to Jan Blachowicz. Like rounds 1 and 3, very close. I'd say that Jan won those rounds, but at the same time, I can't be too mad. I don't know. I just don't like Carlos Ulberg's style. He just fights off the back pedal for 3 straight rounds, tippy tapping low kicks. Occasionally he'll throw some punches down the pipe, but nothing really seriously damaging. Ulberg would have 100% got schooled if this was Jan Blachowicz 2, 3 years ago. And yeah, it was very frustrating. You could still give the fight to Jan Blachowicz. I thought Jan Blachowicz won. Ulberg, I don't think he's that good, but I guess he's in the title picture now. I don't know, man. It's just that, like, I don't want to see Ulberg win. His fighting style is not that great to watch. I guess he's fighting Yuri Prohaska soon. I'd say Prohaska wins this, but eh, I just don't care about Carlos Ulberg that much. And we're gonna move on to the main event for now. Main event we have Sean Brady versus Leon Edwards. I'm actually proud of myself because I called this fight to a T. I said that Brady's pressure massively improved since his fight with Bilal Muhammad, and he won up to Bilal in terms of pure performance. From the first round, one-way traffic for Sean Brady because once he was able to get Leon to the ground, Brady would just absolutely bully him using superior jiu-jitsu. And compared to what Sean Brady did, Bilal Muhammad had a very competitive fight with Leon Edwards. Like there were rounds you could definitely give to Leon Edwards in that fight, but Brady, like it was just schooling him from start to finish, and he made Edwards look like a washed GFL prospect. It even makes me question how Edwards was even champion in the first place. Because even though I said Brady was going to dominate Leon Edwards, to see that happen live still hits very differently. This welterweight division is a Shark Tank. Brady proved that he is one of the bigger sharks in the division right now. His submission game is probably the best in the division by far. And I was go as far as to say that it's better than Shavkat Rakhmonov's. I know this is going to be a hot take. I still think Shavkat will give Brady a lot of problems just because of the frame and the fact that Brady won't be able to just do whatever he wants to Rachmanov in the clinch. Rachmanov isn't this timid striker that can easily get backed up against the fence, and he hits hard, or at least a lot harder than Leon Edwards. And as for who Brady could fight next, this is awkward because I technically Bilal Muhammad is coming off a TKO win to Sean Brady. Brady deserves a title shot out of everyone next up, including Rachmanov. If JDM knocks out Bilal Muhammad, I don't mind Sean Brady getting the title shot first. But if Bilal Muhammad beats JDM, which I expect him to, then I don't know what Brady does. Because just for a fresh matchup, I would prefer Rachmanov to get the fight. And Brady, like, I don't know. He could fight Joaquin Buckley or Kamaru Usman, but theoretically, why would he? Because there's no gain for Sean Brady to fight either of those guys. I guess for him, ideally, he should wait out for the belt unless he wants to get back in there because who knows, ring rust might be a thing. But yeah, very impressive performance from Sean Brady. Dominant performance. And I can't wait to see what Sean Brady does next because, man, that was incredible to watch. All right, that's where I'm going to end it for today. I'm really sorry that this video came out late. I'm having a really hard time adjusting to time zones, but I will try to make another video in a couple of hours. Hopefully, I can adjust within the next several days because I need to start locking in for my exams and I need to start posting more videos now that I'm home and not back in Turkey where the Wi Fi was bugging the fuck out. But other than that, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.